making Jamaican Manish Water, authentic goat soup. So I have 2 pounds goat head and belly here, and I am washing it. Everybody knows how it goes for me when it comes on to meat. I don't like when my meat is cut very fine. I'm sorry. People must be able to taste meat, eat meat, bite meat, see meat, identify meat, right? So I have it here, and I'm just gonna clean up. So if you look at this little piece here, you see that excess fat. I'm going to clean up all of that. I'm soaking it here in a little bit of vinegar water, not for too long, because we don't want to get rid of all of the rankness and the rawness that is to be found from this good ram goat, right? We want for it to be able to retain its flavor. So I'm just gonna clean this all up, and once I do that, I am going to put it in the crock pot. I was about to be like, what's it called again? I almost said Vitamix, but it's a crock pot. I'm gonna put it in there just to get that meat tender, after which I'm going to be finishing up on the stove top. Now, Manish water is always best prepared on a coal fire, outside thing, you know, get all that aroma swelling up your community and all. But unfortunately, I just made a decision to cook it, and the whole process of getting the coal stove going and all of that, I can't be bothered with that, because today is a day that I need to multitask. So this is going to be cooked on the stove top, and I'm going to be taking you through the process. So the goat head and belly has been added to the pressure cooker, and I have added some pimento berries and a little bit of ginger powder. To this, I am going to add about 6 cloves of crushed garlic, and I'm going to allow this to pressure away for about 20 minutes or 30 minutes the most. All right, so stay tuned. So I've removed the goat meat from the crock pot, and I've now added it to the soup pot, which is on top of the stove. And I am going to now add what is, I don't know, in my mind, hog food, but I hear that this is really good in Manish water. Not a lot of persons him look at me like, what, hog food? Not a lot of persons cook Manish water with young breadfruit. And I understand that the breadfruit is considered young because it is not fit for roasting, right? But I guess it is good for boiling. So I'm going to be adding the roast breadfruit to the pot. And the purpose here is to, sorry, not the roast breadfruit. I'm going to be adding the breadfruit to the pot, the young breadfruit to the pot. And the purpose here is to give the soup some body, right? And I guess it has its own unique flavor that's gonna add to it. So persons would normally substitute this probably with green bananas, but I'm going to be adding green bananas as well. So here we go with the young breadfruit. All right, so we're gonna leave that for some time to cook through, and as you know, I add seasoning as I go. So at this stage, I'm going to be adding some cloves. Allow that to do its thing, and in the meantime, I will cut up the other vegetables that will be added to the pot. Alright, so the breadfruit has already been added to the pot, as you know, and it's halfway cooked, and I've added some green bananas, and now I'm adding some with the skin on to the pot. And right after this is cooked, I will add the additional vegetables, and that will be some chocho, Irish potato, and carrots. Alright, if you noticed, the breadfruit is actually cooked. Look at that. I'm able to break it with the fork. Now remember that the aim of this now is for the breadfruit to give the soup body. So it's not as though I want to serve the soup with these pieces of breadfruit in there for persons to chew upon and swallow. That's not the aim for me. Different people will do their thing in different ways when they're cooking. So for me, I just want to crush this out a little bit, just like how you'd have crushed Irish. And I just want to add it back to the pot. You know, I could just use a spoon and break it on the side of the pot as well, but just to show you what it is that I'm going to be doing ultimately, this is it. Just crush the breadfruit, add it back to the pot, and this is going to give it body. Like I said, we have our banana in there already, and I have pieces there with the skin. Look, there you have it. Skin is in there, so you know, so this is going to be nice, and can't wait for just taste this, because it's going to be good. All right, so Alright, so next step of the process now is to add the potato, the chocho, the carrots, all of that pot of full, you know. Yes, all of these things are being added. One nice full pot. Got that. Water come. Manish water come. Excitement, excitement. I have some scallion pieces here as well, because as I said to you before, that when I am cooking, every single time I add something, I add a different kind of seasoning. I just always layer up on the seasoning. So we're gonna allow this to go through and cook somewhat, and while this is doing its thing, I am going to be making the spinners to come into the pot as well, the dumpling. All right, so allow this now to come to a boil again, a rapid boil, and sort out the sort out. Listen to me, YouTube, whoever is the owner of YouTube, I'll eventually figure that out. You need to get some kind of like smell icon, something that, you know, once we click on that button, we can smell whatever is going on, because I'm telling you that this ram goat, ranking ram goat, smell good, really smell good. All right guys, so I'm gonna make the dough now for the dumpling. So we have our dough here, and I've put that into 2 halves basically. I never know if this are 2 halves, because I want to look bigger than that one, but the bottom line is that I have made the dough. And if you're wondering how to make a flour dough, it is as simple as adding water and flour, and of course you're gonna take your time and add the water to the dough, to the flour rather, and knead it until it comes all the way together. Now I'm not the best dough kneader, because let me tell you something, had my father been doing this, you see them little flour thing here where you sip on the side, none of that would have been there. But I don't claim to be a professional at anything that I do. I just want to make sure that the thing come out in a way that when my product is done, you can still say, yeah man, this thing shot, it tastes good. Me now responsible for all of the technicalities with getting rid of all those flour on the side. All right, as long as there's something here so workable, I am good to go. All right, so I am not the best dumpling maker as it relates to even coming out with the shape of the dumpling, especially if it's gonna be round dumpling. Don't come to me with that. If you want to see a dilapidated looking dumpling, ask me to make it, and I am the first to admit that. But for this soup, I'm going to be making spinners, so it don't really matter. All right, so I'm going to go in with that now. Like I have my dough, so I'm gonna drop these. I'm gonna make them, drop them in the pot. I'm just gonna spin this up here long and nice. See there, this is the best I can do, and just drop it off like that nicely in the pot. Some more pot bubble, pot one with itself. It smells good though, really smells good. All right, so see it again. Dumpling drop in. Manish water must have a little dirty color, like dirty water. I guess sometimes if you look at the color, you probably wouldn't be inclined to drink it, but you have to go with the smell, and there you go with the taste. That's what works. Smell and the taste make it all exciting. Some of them dumpling are fat, and some of them kind of slim. You have to make sure so the dumpling them, you know, balance out and tea. So they have company. You have to represent the different sizes to be found in the world when you're cooking, because you don't want the slim dumpling to be lonely, and you don't want the thicker dumplings to be lonely. All right, so you have to really take in different shapes and sizes when you are cooking. And I stretch long do almost a festival. All right, so see, we're dumpling in, everything in the pot now. There's only one last step to go, and that will be when I'm going to be adding the noodles. I'm using the ram goat brand that I saw. It's my first time going to be using that one, but that's what I'm going to be working with. So that's my next step, and of course adding the final seasoning. All right guys, so now that that's done, I'm just going to go in now with some fresh herbs. And I am adding scallion, and I am adding thyme, and I'm gonna be dropping in a nice ripe Scotch bonnet pepper, red. Some people would go in with green. I don't really think it matters, to be honest with you. And of course I am going to be adding some salt. Don't want to put too much because I don't know, you know, how much salt content might be in this noodle that I'm going to be trying for the very first time. All right, so that should be enough salt because it's a hell of a pot. Even though you're just seeing the top section here, it's a hell of a pot, right? Apparently I am doing this to feed the nation, but you know how my thing is. I can't bother with a little bit of food, right? Especially if it's coming to soup, I want to cook a lot because you never know. Nobody's really gonna stop by, but I have a few persons that I'm gonna call and ask them to sample this, and of course I want them to do the taste test, tell me, you know, how it turned out. So naturally I'm gonna ask them to record themselves tasting this thing and just give me them first impression, and of course I'll drop that at the end of the video as well, right? So pretty much this is it. All right, so just gonna allow this to continue to do its thing, and I'm going to add the noodle. So this is our ram goat soup Manish water. They say it's all natural, no MSG. According to them, you know, it's that product that is good to make Manish water. So we're gonna try this. It's a Spicy Hill Farms brand. It says it's pot ready, and according to them it's soup at its best, and this is all of the things that it has. I don't know that people normally put pumpkin. I see pumpkin here. I don't know that people normally put pumpkin in Manish water, but if they do, okay, that's good for them. I just know that Manish water normally has a very dirty looking color, and so I'm going to go ahead with that. So this, I guess, is just gonna give it a little bit more oomph, you know, spice it up a little bit more. So I'm gonna add this to the pot right now. So again, that's the Spicy Hill Farms ram goat soup Manish water, all natural, no MSG mix. So I'm gonna drop that in the pot now. Here we go. Not tell no lie, it actually smells like goat meat for true, because I guess it's dehydrated goat meat that they have in there. That's what it smells like. So I have added that to the pot. Like I said, I don't know how salt this is, but I have added it, and I'm going to turn down my fire on low flame now and just allow that to simmer with the fresh herbs that I've put in there. The thyme and the scallion and the ginger, of course a little bit of ginger has to be there, and the garlic, the pimento. I have clove, and I have this pepper that's here, the Scotch bonnet pepper. Those are the natural seasonings that I have added. And oh yes, guess what I added to this? A little piece of celery. I should have mentioned that. I've added a little piece of celery. So let's see how this turns out, but so far it looks good. You see that consistency? I like this consistency for the soup. Not too watery. It has a little thickness to it, a little body to it. And that's the beauty of adding the young breadfruit to the pot from early and allowing it to do its thing. Because if you notice, the yam is in there, but if you also take a look, you will notice that my potato is not crushed, right? I actually have potato pieces, and I do have the banana pieces that's in there as well. Look at all this goodness. So guess what, guys, this is gonna simmer down maybe for another 10 to 15 minutes, and then it's gonna be all set. All right, smells really good. Come on YouTube, work on that little smell button there, because people need to smell this. Listen to me, the only drawback for me where this is concerned is that it's not being cooked on a wood fire, because you know, so wood fire just give everything a nice little earthy kind of vibe. But thus far the clove and the garlic in here is actually doing the trick for me. But you know, it's not gonna be perfect like a wood fire vibe or a wood fire setting. So people, can't wait. I cannot wait to dig in to this soup. All right guys, so in 15 minutes I'll have the finished product ready to show you. Here we have it, the finished product. Manish water, Jamaican style, via style. Trust me, watch goodness. Bon appetit.
Okay, people, try hit me. Hey, Zachary, try hit me.
What, Vil? This is delicious. I could do with another bowl. Send on. This is very good, Vil. Very good. Keep it up.
Thumbs up. Bad like yours. May come for more. Holy pot. Pot, but I'm supposed to bada.